So mostly we're talking about positive things about the Philippines, but in today's video, I want to talk about some lies in the Philippines, some things that people think are true here, but are just really not the real story. Let's talk about that now.
Subscribe now.
So on a more lighthearted note, to get things kicked off, I think one of the things that so many of you already know about the Philippines that is a lie is when it comes to time. So in countries like where I come from in the US, if people say that an event is gonna start at 6 p.m., that means 6 p.m. People are gonna probably get there at 5:30, start getting their stuff, finding a seat. Everybody's gonna be anticipating what's to come, and then they're ready to kick things off right at 6 p.m. But here in the Philippines, it doesn't work that way at all. I think of our recent Christmas party for the Purple Cow and Delish Deli team. We were supposed to start at 7 o'clock, and at 7 o'clock, there was just maybe a few people there. And about 7:35 p.m., it was starting to get pretty full, and I remember saying to one of the people on the team there, like, it's 7:35, we're 35 minutes past when we decided to start, we're almost on time. And they laughed because people here really know that if something's supposed to start at 7 p.m. as an example, that chances are that means 7:30 if it's early, 8 o'clock if it's on time. So there's a lot of lies about time in the Philippines. You just can't take what people say literally. You have to really cushion the time with some extra time before things are gonna really get started. Second thing that I see that's a lie here so often is promotions. Now, I'm in the marketing and advertising business with one of my companies, and so I really get creating an enticing ad that's gonna draw people in so they're gonna buy, but there's kind of a spectrum of what's ethical and what's unethical when it comes to promotions. I think of the airlines here so often in the Philippines. They'll advertise 1 peso fares or 88 peso fares, which of course sounds like incredible. And most often air flights here are pretty cheap, definitely less expensive than the US. But if you advertise a 1 peso fare or an 88 peso fare, you're really expecting something that's a really cheap flight. But what winds up happening is that they add all of these fake charges, and they really want to charge so much more if you're gonna add luggage or if you're going to wanna choose your seat. Pretty simple things, right? If you're gonna go on a plane flight somewhere, chances are you're gonna need luggage. But without exception, those 1 peso or 88 peso fares at the lowest are gonna be a couple thousand pesos, often they're 5,000 pesos. And so whenever it comes to promotions over here, I just find that everybody gets sucked into thinking it's gonna be a low price, when in reality, if you've lived over here even a short time like me, you just gotta know they're lying. Those fares are gonna be way higher than they promise. Another lie here in the Philippines that I deal with so much as an employer is excuses. Excuses is often just another form of lying, especially if the excuses just aren't true. You know, for me, when we go to hire people over here, we might schedule 6 interviews in a day and maybe 1 or 2 will show up. We might schedule 4 interviews and none show up. And I would say that this is a lot harder, especially coming out of the pandemic. But what is really the lie here is the excuses. So often people won't show up, and either they won't say anything at all, or they'll come up with an excuse why they didn't come. 99% of the time, they had an emergency. Now, it might be a family emergency, it might be who knows what the emergency is. They don't always say. But the statistical probability of 90% of people that come across my path for a job interview having an emergency is clearly a lie. So people here often, instead of just telling you directly, hey, I'm not gonna show up, hey, I'm not interested any longer, hey, I found another job, it doesn't really work that way here. People instead will kind of give you an answer that maybe they think you want to hear, or that they think you could digest a little bit more so it won't upset you, like, hey, I had an emergency. But in reality, when everybody around you is having emergencies every time they first come in contact with you, you know that either you're a very dangerous person that causes a lot of emergencies, or a lot of people are just lying about different things that come up. Last thing I want to mention here that's really a lie to me about the Philippines, and this is a little bit more of a sensitive topic over here. The lie is that all Filipinos are very hard working. That's probably offensive to a lot of people. What are you saying? Filipinos aren't hard working? Well, I don't think so. What I think is the case is that some Filipinos are very, very hardworking and they have a very high level of responsibility. But in reality, in so many families here, I'm certainly not saying all, but in many families in the Philippines, there's really just one person that is working very hard. And this person, without a doubt, is a very hardworking Filipino. They have a high level of responsibility. But so often, most of the people in their family look at them as what they call a breadwinner over here. A breadwinner might be an 18-year-old, they might be a 20-year-old, they might be a 40-year-old. But the breadwinner is the real one in these families that are the hardworking person, and everybody else is really not hardworking at all. Instead, they're just relying on this breadwinner to go to work each day to make sure that they make enough money, not only for themselves, but for the whole family as well. And I think this lie in particular impacts the whole country, just in terms of people's quality of life, the robustness of the economy. All these different things are impacted because in so many families, there's only one person that's working and everybody else relying on them. Imagine in the same families if just everybody worked even a minimum wage job. It would dramatically impact the wealth that family had, their buying power, and that would impact the whole country as well. So to me, without a doubt, there's a lot of hardworking Filipinos out there that I have the deepest respect for, but so many others that it'd be a lie to call them hardworking. So are you from the Philippines, or have you lived here for a while? If you have, I'd really like to see, what do you think about these different lies that I talked about? Do you think they're true? Do you think they're lies? And do you have other lies about the Philippines that come to mind? If so, I'd love to hear all your thoughts in the comments below. As always, guys, appreciate you watching so much, and take care.